텔레 숨디기 팔루 nga 두디 주 안지 베가 남스미 ngagi jimigi hindindigi 팔루 펜토 추네메세 ngai 레비들 종다르 벤데다 델레 레비기 요는 진디 남스미 ngara기 레오범지 이 수준이벨라 땡아라기 ngaran 남스면 좀지 가네 메바 주 탄줄로 안지 레비기 고급잠지르 땡디기 오멘 수준이 ngara 토와케드라 오이 수준이비
그렇지라 다 지기라 빌로다 데 레와디 리즘지기 데부디 야즘지디 마블레 튀옹세 토토날레 슈나도 좀베라 땡아처럼 레와디 때 bombraki kobe tane bebudalu ta choragi levegi nalu cha shube bebudalu jenda majoigi te chachi kadebe shunigi nosoyoga yachin te ta chitangi ngachara levegi genkuchi te ta lobdanalu chi jo te kidamna gi tin bebe te jani na yachin ta nala phata ngachara levedi suge ta jenda majochi be kadebe cha shunigi ko
lasula te kadimjibe 다트데 알레베 베나메베는 다트데 타체미서요 올라 저랑은 나머지 시울렌 수기 그냥 친주디 페침리 좀 집에 타치 수님의 가dim집에 알레베디 톱 야숨다 집에 오지는 가기 알루슬 베치 땡디든 가처리 롭뎁 잠지를 시작되기 때문에 멤버가처리 존다르데라파 알루 수기 내 땅당 지컬로 릭데되기 베몰라 텔 롭딘 탑시단 탑람디소 랄린 탑짐레 알루초 하고 탑 가디베소네나 디소 팔레 종다르 베미디 nga라기 파 को मजावा बेसिमनल जोंदर बेमिद ngaर lalin thap digi alu chulu ha gochup zonidele choron alu chu ha gochup zabidelo alu chu ha gochup chamchigi mitwe bala chor alu chu chidani ha gomi laluchi ro shile golebe ha gomi do bala laluchi sachigo ha gomi dichu gera chika ha gochup gadibe zonina di chika ha gochup gera dendim ha goni dele thapsi gazumchi lalin thapgo bina an thapsi dichu ngaragi lalin didan ko alu chugi netang da tidi tibe 알수기 네체단 티티베 탑시단 술 탑람줄 알린 탑짐나 좀 떼니기레와 깨도스시네베
그렇지라 다나 소놈노지다 마바체랑이다 다파 르베기 롭종디 타 퀘선엔디기 다 조 마슈지 아니고 조임베 이로에 도레지 쇼진라다 다파 존더디 르베기 롭종디 베사베 베오달로 테 마슈기 테타 ჟოგი 요 좀베 테 ჟუნ기 롭다나라파 르베 대존이기 단도께 빈베 안에 보다로 초리 카톨레 배워진다 주다 게르기날레베 베존이기 니기날로 te kadebe nostamola
das kadishela tamaba tachi shudo zumberainla nga zumchilu bewachin de chirtanga chereki shunglu chashugop doch bawachin shunglu yode megobese girgi ole tende gibe machi shunglu chashusu sela tani bennegi nga zumchilu bewachin ralu kheshita yenden 대 디다튼 디비기 팔루 고비기 nga치루 연된 이브로치 보아친 타나 nga치레기 게르기나 데디기베 게르기 롭다날레 텐디기베 nga치기 나신루 신 페소벨라 몽비기 nga치레기 고팁디 nga치기 텐수니멜라 다니베 텐수비간렌 게르다 슝세 민두슬라 다니 비오달루 당알루 줌치루 보아친 게르기나 베로라 락섬 남다기 골레 랑길 아드라 신주케 다칭아기 냠루기 슈도 좀베라임베 기덴나 유미 점점 메모베신로 nga치르 몽비기 롭투디 가디베 딩딩존이나 아니기 녹슨탄디기 베라 베덥도치 보아친 게르기나레 라베 수니메세 다니 비오달루 쪼라 타통아치 시오 친주디 잡고베 시오 친주디 피위기 남디나로 같이 녹스타모 살라와친 시오 친주디 피고비기 미기디랑 가라좀 찜로치 보아치 같이 녹스타모 살라 토림 시츠들 합사이 담을로 요나 지나미즈나 다니메 와몰라 이 ngazum치루 베와치 같이 녹섬 땅도 살라 시오 친주디 마접도치 보아친 니기 토림 시츠 라케디 와 양치 주머리 마조가모세 양치 테르버링 옐리네가모세 아니 좀치 가치레기 딱시 베니기 델로 녹섬치 땅디 마토바 나 테거도 슝요나지니 기르길롭트나 미데슬라 멘슬라 다니 베오달로 몽비기 나신디 가치기 딩딩 조겁디 담레베다 텔레팜 텔렌치르땅 가치 가랄로 호베 락버드야 다다달로 베와친 리베츠루 포토 좀베 조메라 아니 베오달로 몽비기 가치레기 고팁디 기르기나야 데옴발라 다 슝기나야 데옴 아니 베오다 슝기나 데미 점치 메모베신으로 기르기나 데미기 나신두세 딩딩 조겁도치 보아친 가치 또 토림 다 파로다 삼치멜라 아니 리베기 롭종 타르케미 냠로디스기 가치 녹스땅고베 에슬라와친 게르기나 지데베로라 가치기 알로슬루 추연티 베스니메스 가치리비 릭셀딩 가치기 팔로 레슌 베테스니메스 녹섬tam도 도치 보아친 게르다 슝세 민도 세시니라
나스 거르첼라 다나 스링 온절루 사치 다 라인 나신치 베베 보달루 테 카르 코찰라파에 차로디스에 가라 테 나신다 데와 탑베디 보달루 테 초로이 카툴레 아네베 차라기 차로디스루타 찌당 테 아네 나신디스루타 베베오달루 나신기 날레 베샤 짜자 나신기 쮸바디수 아니 왜 아니 좀미 베샤디 배워지면 좀 후작업지 두메세 같이 좀미기 베샤디 좀 후작업 좀베 통치가 세 아니 좀지
나솔 ngara charo danchi khalo tewa thap anzum chi debdalo ngaragi charo chulu tendigi bi thomi nyamnyongdi chunggochi joachina ngare najin chi beodalo ma chochi ngachira najin chugi chebade kasumchi do sewachin mimang somsare mato phache mato chokhadi imbebala cho choach darinaba kapsu baba al chugi netamda chowachinde 아니 쪼칼람니디 ngagi 남이섬이 쩨바 같이 실당 마담 집에 제 있으시는 배는 ngara najin chi beodalo 아니 미망기 정벌로 빼배워진 가슴 찔라면서 진 파 수ඛ하게 마도랑이 판빈 채미다 왜발라 수ඛ하게 마도 랑기 동김 가오 미치 코라 가톱 카나 같이 팀 심코노 찔라메발라 안좀 찔람네 멤버 랑기 카야 미망 좀서 몰라 세토도 카야 남이섬이 잠도도 몰라 안좀 집이라 배워진 디레심 집에서 델 라루지 창루슈 팀이 지통이 지스입니다 창루슈 팀이 마쇼지 같이 좀 찜에서 준 날루지 차루지가 돔 또어된디 창통에 도스 주면 날루지 배우지 랑기 팜냠 충물라 랑기 팜기 잡절 배마수바 알루 심시 안좀 지데메도 발라 디즘게 알루디스로 같이 배고에서 신가 지르기 콘디수 아 코너 자세 가고 배주스 남이 주디기 마셔 배줌는 파 알루디로 디즘에 차루 배고베스 주면 같이 목강일 같이 좀 지에모스 자와 디즘지 배고미 같이 모스 안좀지 디와 지즘래 차루 베베 도란 베데기 차루들 레줌는 쫀이딩 가지라 나진 찌기지 겐고 보면서 주는데라 들 차루 파 창투미데아 코라 가가오 샤스면 봐 들레 파 가질랍지 아 코라기 데베레이스 카 데베레이스 멤버 차루들 빼배워진 와 차루 치길람 밀로디 데베멘스 미모 좀살로 칼 제독도 랍고세 자 치지 레줌 빌랍고세 치길로 레줌 데줌 빌랍진 파기 나와 핸도도고 들레 나와 핸도도고 건 셈가위 소든 쓰놈디스 디좀 산이기 고급제도 발라 네 가지라 소든 쓰놈 스놈사고 버진 마셔지 담비치 세로 안숨자랑기 레줌 라 레줌 베네 덴베발라 팔펜도 안숨지 배워진 남심 레줌 원님에 세라 이 남라 베로 차로 찌기찌 배정 암시세 가슴지 배서 통데 베로 코라 꼬 마셔베 랑기 찌찌 디심레 차로 베디게베 레줌 존이 남심 겐고 레줌지 임베스님에
das 그렇지라 때다 도동아 지기 마바 다 날레 슈베베 오달루 때다 캡자 베디기베 때 날레 랍제 멘세 슈니라 때 날레 가지기 날레 쇼미디 때 나진 가라루 때 설데 베슈이 있을라 단 나로지라 다다 가지라 뒤디주 telен chuin tu chamegi najune te chanka leche di besa chiro hemada ta to gi pana namsame khebar ju be be udalu te layo gi gokap be di besa chiro de te kachigi gokam na lo be di besa chilu sato chi yo salu mi jaja be on be be udalu te namsame tendur yaseba mola tani tendur ju be udalu najun de sugi rara so sugi ta tendur da tindigi be te kachibe gobdu ga se ani chila
karishela 다 디즘기 나처럼 젠더루슬레기 시치 맵드치 보아친 담 나신드스기 페샤타온가 슬라치 디쇼비 메스니라 페샤다라 메타스니라 데 가텔레시 모슬랍드치 보아친 담바 나처럼기 삼치기 토림롭자메 바로기 토림롭자디나루 땡아치 나신드수 롱오 담발레 롱오 시바센세기 바나루 페샬라비 남디나루 헤마치 시우첸조 마데벨라 시우첸조디 메베기 남디나루 콩가리베 데노 슬랍드치 보아친 마발로 파나디 조누라 다서 페샬레션 벨 함누가 슬라와친 하람치라 이메라 콘탄들 주고 대 하람침베스 가리베시 모슬랍드치 보아친 콩기 나치라기 레길드 수타 콩기들 첸슈 베탕디 수가치루 톱베디 수타 베오돌 디나루 하고 수베세 다 나치기 아니 젠두르슬 예브드치 보아친 담 나랑루 젬수니메라 이 버도 협달로 데 젠두들레 땡디기베 나치기 드라비기날레 드롭 슈용날로 나치라기 탄들 주고 다니 잠마다미디 메고와데 몰라 다 자다미디라고 아니 자다미디라 세고드치 보아친 아니 젠두르데라 베고베세 나치라기 렉션날레 수니둘라 아 케버치치 마데나 디바도 띵미포오세메 모슬라 다니 좀베가 치기치기 달리shum베 케벌다 치기치 덴두당 달라가 치르기 세바기 홀레 페셜합 달레 ngagil기 홀레 페셜 말합도치 보아친디 디날롱아 치기 고비기 연딘디 토미스니메라 락버두 다나기 손도 좀베 가치르기 게르기 레데날레파메 슈요날레파 사톤 치기들로 미 자자베 옴비기 없술로 아니 미 자가라 사톤기 덴날로 가라츠미소와라 치점치송 아니 치점츠미디 같이 메살라 콜루디 나 사톤다 팀비기 콜루 연댕이비기 따이메라 아니 좀베 ngachireya da 나와나 세 사통 템이 갑술로 라야 팔로 같이 빠키게 야가 짝도 주지메 셀랍고 조치보 와친 다톨레라 같이 베고베 셀랍 조치보 와친 윤딘딜 합고베라 윤딘디 입 조치보 와친 테리버리 치 접시조로 메잡라 야치 윤딘민도 셀랍라 멜랍라 코비나로 윤디 입 조치보 와친디 다 아우쿠이기 자긴미 모슬라 탄슈게 장미딘 자기민도 리쿼디 수샤비 간레디 다 마팔레 같이 디날로 당아치레기 사통 예미디날로야 리쿼디라 곱디온들라 케시디라 고봉 다니비오다 랑로라 케시비오 조치보 와친 사통 토브라토 고가 토브라토 수준이라
las karchila tana chringe ta tachi charagi ta najinda dewi kange bejaja chu khujab go bi kole shube bodalu ta masho chi laluchi te lula thangle be de besachiru tilen yonse de sulalen tab be de bilojo hanisu maba lalen tab go bi gi nedun ngomachi 같이 임베세 노모라 제라 아니 베데오 탑베베 비오달로 마바 할람치디 테 하코 수베와 몰라 테 아니 보달로 네드 ngomachi 같이 레텐디기 베 라렌 탑 좀베 노마
네드 ngoma지로 마바 뇨지 라렌 탑 디즘베오치 알루츠 코라기 입티지기 또어든 텐디기 임숨치 토일랑아 비오 같이 뭐저 진 코라 뇨지 롱치베 갈레 코라 가티헤 마시 몰라 코라 셈카 같이 엄치 코라 뇨지 디기 심베갈레 딜을 롱체 되면 발라 코라 또 어디나 텐데베간 코라 입티치기 돼 가dim집에 뇨지기 디기 아니 시미디 삼베게 갈레 코라가 미가임 헤마가임 들어 조베간레디 코라기 베제디 헤마 가임 들 텐데면 발라 나진디 수기 뇨지디 술랄린 타미디 가이디 마초치 코라 입티치기 또 어디를 임베 수진베 입티치기 또 어디로 텐디기 베 랑기 미치 디즘비기 촐라탄 되어진 나멘 남라 미초스 주니빈 가딤제베 랑기 미세디 남랑 고바친 랑기 가 이미디 레줌 람 장보데라 템바친 디디 타케추 수주니빈 베베와친 뇨지디 추 입틴치기 또 이미세 디기 나이 미치치기를 뇨지 디기 입틴치 투미 디기 네 미치 지 펜토 추가 주치미도스 가치베 조친 랑기 뇨지 입틴치 투미 디기 랑기 미세 행케 마냠탄네 마투야 콤플 좀 미츠베스 랑기 셈카 디즘비 노선 디즘치 딘디비 덴디기베 뇨지 디수 빵탑기 람루 디수 랑기 랄린 탑 델레 뇨지 디수 샤니기 탑시레 땐 베어친지 랑기 미치델레 심조니 고급도 쓰주니벨 데빈디기 다통하기 날리주들 나라 셰스 나라 이시 슈슈멘스 주니벨 나라 나진치 베어든디 나라기 니수 통통지 나라기 냠뇽들을 시작되기 비슈 주도 쓰주니벨 아니 베베어들로 랑기 미체디 타케고 버진 남라 베론 람디 장볼로 텐디게베 뇨제 디즘치 입틴치기 토어들로 텐디게베 남라 베랑기 미체디 톨라 마다세 이세 나스 집슈니 이스슈니
las karchela tamaba tuse te anim chibe sansuchi joime in ta jugi gokapchi ta ngi teona matsubigi nedunre te charagi nashin charo desulu te zumber rangi olamagi te chunshum desulu te sunyo bachin gokap char phigela
lasa karishe sunela tata chudo zumberaila pedu dubigi ge habdinalu danga chiregi wanchu gyuzingi ngawlo dele shungchunggi lembo namgi de kapsu baba da to gachime selap to chubo achin shendi remote wa name sunela shendi remote ba gi namigi namdinalu nobdi lakwa lendige be longche to chubo achin de misedi ani nobdi gi da chirele shumbe tarke su sunela lakbardoya ta tarnawa gi ngachiregi zamningna neyam 춥치다 다 COVID-19 레베 모슬라 아니 디기레 텐디기베 마치 쉬인자니디 다담 ngarai tau do chibo achinti ngilam na zumchi me sinela ani ngilam na gi disedi ngilam bera masha ase ani ngilam na gi disedi le shumbe longchi rangi ship raleten maship do chibo ach rangi phambin chame dilal habigi rangi thakole ba debigi lebeo thakole ba debigi pesha shimi yamro disong ani da chikhalu tinri bedegi be pesha habdo chibo achin nam chigi se gachidi deong selab do chibo achin yenden selami di deong sinela ani yenden di do chibo achinti misigi donghalu lamingo vela 아피미디와 연대 미메 연대 예 이슬람이 점치 옴도치 뭐 랑바키케 되고요 뭐슬라 아피미디 페셔르 자미다스 가니야 미세 럽덥도치 뭐 아친 타르키용 시네라 타르키위 간레 같이메 슬라가친 나치레 미세디 라가 헤데올라 라가 헤비 간레 록디라 다르가 치 페셔타니 슬랍도치 뭐 아친 디세디 조이 간레 심시 데 다토기 미세디나 밀레림 보치 탑디기 똥로 슬람이 아니 시네 아니 묘니기 된로 다 아치레기 아다또 롭드는 조밍고베세 봉봉다 녜데니 메바베스나로 장통나 때니돌라 락버드야 라니 모슬라 심슬라미 라니 코치슬라미기 템플 베오멜라 슝기 제루 마힘 좁스타니 아니기 로기 슝기 나미기 아치레기 접도디수 레shum베 롱체디기베 미세디 된다 뎀치 te zosubigi rewaya debe tu ngagi berura melamya debera tabdo sinel
nas kariche ta desum
라슬라 말레 슈니즈로 남미스미 카치우치가 네미스즈뉴라 다또 네컵 나치 주게 갑디 네지드로 텐디게 네탄타 마도 뎀치게 헵달로 나치라 나진디 추기 다치 공로주도 숨치라 인스즈뉴벨라 겐코 탭 제로 나치라 둑 트레스 렘록데랄렌 탐네라
nas
나진 추기 가슴치 벼메서 진 둑 트레스 렘록기 파 인켈레조치 스캔 베네 몰 랄렌 탐나니 파 자디 도발 디 아니 랄렌 탐니 민도스즈뉴벨라 나진 랄루치 가치라메서 자 가치빈데 쿠미세
nas
디디 자rum 마주랑 같이 디디 랄린 탑으로 마탑으로 된다지 미세 안지 라메 돈이스 주네벨 데비 멤버 베짐날레 로파 이미디 코랑 같이 람로던 티데게 베둑 드레스 람로디 랄린 탑 델레 랑기 랍 추니기 델레 파톰 칼레시 조와진 톰기로 총카 레레기 고칼로 랍 추추니기 아니
nas
추둥 레레 쪼디 도스 주네벨 아주 랄린 탑 디참찌기 가베오달로 나진디스 게라 좀비기 디치체메발 롭드나 조니메 베칸 좀도레레 마베와 베심나베 랑기 침나 랑 레레베 데몰 페차타로 랑기 침나비타 가딤집에 랑기 카치오레 톰칼레바 조디베로야 디사동 잔이데 미망 좀살로 조닐레 젠디기 가린 장나스니빈
nas karichela ta tarigi lerimdi tema bazora tenga chira najindusulu te labjabe minla tenga chira suldep zumchibe be shimdalu te najin karalu tenga cheloe genkuchi du se ta maombigi genkuchi nga chelu du sewigi te semkhalu te tenso zumchibe te shuin se shunila te najin karagi phamigi labjangen komigi tindi samshimnalu te tokoya thudigibe genkudi bani se te nalaphata te la khachira bedi besachire te tatamsigi golebe cha shuni se te zigob dikha che mangkheya thudibe membershimda tenga charagi ngararai ngagi bemidira ta tirai se majuba beshimdalu te nalaphata-gi te lamdi te zansub dochibo achin te gekhabda te ngacharagi rangi rangloe te tigira pen thoni imbe se shunila te bole tendigi be te tarigi najunda jeyugi lerimnalu te jelnamlu te kariche se shunida chikalu lerim ziname ni man thingi yonle lerim ziname de karichela
Kuzampo, and a very warm welcome to your weekly medical talk show, Jungso BBS. I'm your host, Tilayangchun Doji, and this week on Jungso BBS, we will start with concerns on mental health issues, and we will focus on anxiety. And if I could bring you up to date with some of the stats that are released from the Ministry of Health in their annual Health Bulletin 2021. This is stats from 2016 to 2020, and in this 5 years' time, there was a lot of cases of anxiety. In just 2020 alone, 2,164 cases of anxiety were brought to the attention of the hospitals. And in 2019, there were 1,370 cases of anxiety disorder. So to understand more on what is anxiety disorder, we have the senior psychiatrist from the Jigmedoji Wangchu National Referral Hospital, Dr. Dambar Kumar Nirola, with us. And he will help us to find out what is anxiety and how can we prevent it, and what are the treatments and methods used to address anxiety. So with that, a very warm welcome on Jungso BBS again, Doctor.
Thank you for having me again.
Yes, Doctor, since you are a very busy psychiatrist in the hospital, we had to take you straight out of your OPD, and that's why you're in your doctor's coat.
Yes.
So it's just for our audience to know. This week we thought we'll focus on anxiety disorders, because
Yes.
panic attack is also one of them.
Right.
So doctor, for our audience now, we we want to make it very simple to understand. La.
Okay.
So we will start with what is anxiety? La?
Now, what is anxiety? That's a very good question, and I think over the years we have been seeing an increasing number of people having anxiety disorder. In fact, when I started my career as a psychiatrist, depression was the number one disorder in psychiatry OPD. But now, over the years, we see manifold increase in anxiety disorder. Now, anxiety basically, if you look at the definition as such, is a fear due to some apprehension. Like there is no real fear, but you are afraid of certain things without any reason. So anxiety disorders are many. Actually, there are different types of anxiety disorder. So anxiety, to understand anxiety, we must understand how we feel when we are fearful. So if we look at that fear factor, like if we see some, let's say a tiger or an elephant or whatever fearful thing that we perceive it to be fearful, then we experience a certain type of feeling, and along with that we also experience certain types of symptoms, bodily symptoms.
Yes.
And then why are we doing that? That is because of the apprehension that the fearful thing might attack us or kill us. So that is the reason why we have that fear. But if the fear comes without any reason, there is no fearful object in front of you, yet you experience that same type of feeling, or any type of situation triggers that, then we call it a disorder. So there are several types of anxiety disorders actually.
Yes.
Now the most common type that we see is a panic attack. Now what is a panic attack? Now is the same type of fear that happens without any reason, which just comes out of the blue suddenly, and you experience the symptoms of anxiety. I am going to deliberate a little more on symptoms little later, but you get the same feeling, and that feeling lasts for about just maybe 15 minutes, half an hour. After that you feel as if nothing has happened. Okay. And when somebody experiences one panic attack, the person might think that they are having a heart attack or they are going to die or something like that. So they will do a lot of investigations to make themselves reassured that there is nothing wrong with their heart or other parts of the body.
Yes.
But if the panic attacks come repeatedly, and then after sometimes what happens is, once you have 3 or 4 such panic attacks, so the panic attacks may come within a day, it may come once in a week or once in a month, but after that you start worrying about having an attack.
Oh, yes.
You are not having an attack, but you are worried. So when you start having a worry about that, then what happens is you avoid being alone. You want to be with somebody because you don't know how to handle that attack when it comes.
Right.
So we call that a panic disorder. So panic attack is just 1 or 2 attacks, and then person is totally fine.
The repeated
Panic
ones.
disorder, repeated attacks, and then having an apprehension of having another attack.
Oh.
Now what are the other types of anxiety disorders? There is phobic disorder, we call phobia.
Phobias, yes.
You must have heard about phobia.
Yes,
Now
spider
people,
phobia.
yes,
and all
people
that,
have phobia of spiders, for example, cockroaches, snakes, or they may even feel very claustrophobic in a small confined space, or they may have a phobia of flying. I mean, there are different types of phobias. If you look in the
and it's all very real to them,
encyclopedia,
yes,
there are about 1,000 different
Yes,
types of
yes, no.
phobia. So that is a phobic disorder. Again, in a phobic disorder, what is triggering the symptoms of anxiety is a situation or an object or an animal or something. So panic attack, there is nothing.
Right, right.
Whereas in a phobic attack,
Last
in a phobic anxiety disorder, you have something that triggers that. The moment you avoid being in that
trigger.
situation,
Yes.
you don't get anything. And there is another condition called generalized anxiety. Means you are anxious about almost everything in life to such an extent that it sort of hampers your day-to-day functioning.
Oh my.
So people are worried about small things like, oh, how will be the life tomorrow, what will happen to my children, this, that. So they worry a lot about that, and the symptoms should last for about 6 months for people to be diagnosed with generalized anxiety.
Right.
Whereas panic attack, one attack, it is a panic attack. The moment they
Series
start
of
having repeated thoughts about having an attack, then it is a panic disorder. But even in panic disorder, like in almost all the mental disorder, the functionality or your ability to cope up with your day-to-day activity and be part of the society or be productive in your day-to-day work is actually hampered. Then only we call it a disorder. You may have a panic attack, still you are doing your day-to-day work without any problem, that is fine. But the moment it starts interfering your day-to-day functioning, then it is given a diagnosis
basically
of
handicapping, you know,
disorders.
yes.
Yes. The other type of anxiety that people have is called social anxiety. You feel as if you are being watched, and you become very nervous. You are not able to communicate with other people. You can't eat in front of them. You feel as if you are constantly under the scrutiny. So they will not feel very comfortable being in a social situation. The moment they are removed from there, they are perfectly fine. Okay. So likewise, there are very many, but these are the most common one.
Yes.
Now, what happens in anxiety disorders? There are 3 components of symptoms. One is called the psychological symptoms, one is called the behavioral symptoms, one is called the physiological symptoms.
Yes.
Now, if you look at the physiological symptoms, now whenever we experience a fearful situation, our body actually prepares us to either fight with that situation or run away from it. When you have the fight or flight reaction, what is needed? Basically, your heart has to beat fast.
Oh yes.
So that you get
Adrenaline.
enough oxygen.
Yes.
Because there is a rush of adrenaline in your
Yes,
system.
yes.
We call them adrenaline, noradrenaline, catechol.
Yes,
all these things are released
Yes.
because the mind is interpreting something as a fearful situation,
Right.
and then depending on that, your body is being
Wow.
prepared to run away or fight
Or
with
fight.
it.
Yes.
Okay, so when that happens, your heart will beat fast. So because the blood supply has to be there.
Yes.
Number 2, you start breathing faster, like that. Number 3, you feel as if something is not going right. Your mouth will become dry. Your vision will become blurry.
Wow.
You feel as if goosebumps are there in your body.
Wow.
Right? And then sometimes you also get a sensation of maybe going to the bathroom or things like that. But if you go to the bathroom, nothing will happen because all the sphincters will be tight and you can't do anything.
Right.
And then you feel, so these are the physical symptoms. Your heart rate is increased, your breathing has increased, or it becomes strenuous, your muscles are all contracted, therefore you feel as if it is tensed. And especially when you have repeated attacks of anxiety or you have a general anxiety, towards the evening you are not so relaxed, your muscles are not relaxing because you are in that state of fight or flight thing. So the muscles over your scalp will also contract continuously without relaxation. So you feel heavy in your head. Sometimes you even experience some type of headache. Okay. So these are the physical symptoms. Now what is the psychological symptoms? The moment we get that feeling, we feel as if we are going to die. So that negativity comes. You feel restless, you feel jittery, you feel like doing something. So these are the psychological symptoms.
Yes. Obviously, doctor, when your heart is palpitating so
Right.
much, you would think that you're
then
nearing
another
death.
thing is people will misinterpret these as something to do with the heart. So people may go and do different
ECG
tests,
and everything,
ECG, echo, and they are not satisfied sometimes.
Right.
But they don't realize that it is actually an anxiety attack. So it is very important to understand that. Because all of us have gone through some form of anxiety or other. especially before the exams, or you are sitting for a viva examination in front of our professor.
This hand
No?
sweating,
Yeah,
everything comes.
hand
no, la.
sweating,
La.
you feel dry, you
Yes.
feel jittery, you don't know, sometimes you are not able to concentrate,
Yes,
sometimes you forget whatever you are supposed to speak.
Yes,
You may say something, oh, I should have said this, or no, there
Yes,
are people who later on realize that, oh, I was so nervous, I couldn't give the
So
correct
that is
answer.
a form of a
Yes, that
panic
is the
attack.
panic
no, la.
attack. That is
Yes.
actually a form of panic attack.
Yes, la.
But here it is because of the situation, right?
Right, right. La.
So exams and all can induce some sort of an anxiety, but it is not going to last long. The moment your exam is over, you are perfectly fine. Therefore,
True,
it is
yeah.
not considered as a
Yes.
disorder.
Yes, la.
So it's normal feeling.
Yes.
Many of us, especially in medical colleges, and our life used to be pretty miserable. We used to have to be in front of the professor answering all those questions. We used to feel so nervous. This is experienced by everybody.
Yes.
Now, the behavioral aspect is obviously you feel restless, you are not able to sleep properly, you are not able to concentrate on your day-to-day activities, you may be pacing around for nothing. Some people may even faint.
Oh.
Some people are unable to take that.
The pressure mounts up so much that you faint.
So
la.
they just faint.
Oh my.
Because there's a psychological mechanism to just
Blackout.
blank them.
Blank.
Yes.
Oh, less.
So that is how we experience symptoms of
Oh,
anxiety.
thank you so much for
Yeah.
explaining the signs and symptoms
Right.
of an anxiety disorder. la. And also, you talked about the different kinds of anxiety disorders. Now, doctor, how do you diagnose them? La?
All different types of mental disorders are basically diagnosed mostly through clinical symptoms, signs and symptoms.
Yes, la.
Now, interesting fact is, most of our patients would have already gone to many other doctors to
Oh, of course,
sort
la.
of
Yes, la.
rule
Do their
out
blood work,
Yeah.
ECG work,
So they
everything.
have
la.
done all that
Oh,
thing.
yes,
So by
yes.
the time they come to us, they would have already done all the tests that are required to be done.
Yes, la.
So they would have ruled out thyroid problem, they would have ruled out heart problem, they would
yes.
have ruled out so many things.
Yes.
But if they have come to us for the first time, we do have to rule out all these medical conditions,
Oh, so
because
you
that's
will-
very important.
Oh, less.
Yeah, because we can't just say, okay, yours is purely psychological thing. It's nothing to do with the body. We cannot say that. So we do certain types of tests, but generally it's all clinical, and we have the diagnostic criteria that we use. We have got ICD. We call it ICD-10. That is International Classification of Diseases, which gives different symptoms. It's a group of symptoms. Based on that, we diagnose.
Right.
And there is also something called DSM, or Diagnostic Statistical Manual. Right now we are having the 5th edition of DSM.
Yes, la.
So it also tells us how we are supposed to diagnose a case of
Anxiety disorder. Oh, less. La. Now we'll focus on the treatment, doctor.
Right.
Medication and treatment
Yeah.
for anxiety disorders.
Yes. We try to treat anxiety mostly through CBT, cognitive behavior therapy,
Okay, la.
because unless the symptoms are very severe, we sometimes don't want people to be on medications for a very long time. Like, to relieve the symptoms immediately, there are medicines which can be addicting. Therefore, we don't want people to be on those medicines for a very long time. But just to make people comfortable, we may give medicines for a while. But there are certain category of people who might require medications for a longer durations. But for the first time, we try and help them through relaxation type of therapy.
Yes.
So we teach them how to do relaxation, breathing exercises, progressive muscle relaxations. There are imageries, like you imagine about a nice place and all that things. So there are guided imagery, like we guide them to visualize a very nice place, how you relax you are,
Yes.
and all that thing. So there are different modalities, and
Right.
obviously the cognitive behavior therapy plays a very important role, because see, sometimes we have this distortion of our cognition, because you keep on denying the fact that you are going through a psychological issue, and then you keep on looking for a cure, and many people don't want to take it onto themselves to try and help themselves. They want somebody to fix their problem rather than they take the lead and thing. But if people have learnt all that already, like for example, sometimes people do come with long-standing anxiety issues. In those cases, they have already learnt how to cope up. For example, some people do this recitation of mantra, some people just go for a walk, some people just stay alone and then try to cope up. So if they are doing something right in order to take care of their anxiety, we just encourage them to do that. And along with that, we also teach them meditation, mostly mindfulness type of meditation. How we can change our own cognition so that you behave in a proper manner and your feeling will get subsided.
Right. Are people at certain risk factor involved in it?
Well, I think
In getting anxiety disorder, like genetic predisposition?
genetic, yes. Like when we talk about the causative factors, yes.
Causative.
Like causative factors are again multifactorial. I mean, there is no single cause. They can have a biological cause where they have a tendency to carry a gene from their mother or father's side, which makes them anxious anyway. They may have chemicals, especially adrenaline and noradrenaline overflow in their system.
Right.
So that needs to be addressed. It may be a stress that is causing all these things, because many times even though there is a stress, people don't really sort of
address it. No.
Yeah, they don't really know how to associate. Is it the stress that is causing it, or the stress is just something different? So now we may have to address that stress. So if it is because of an environmental situation or your own situation, there's a stress and you are constantly worried about it, then that needs to be addressed also.
Right.
But of course, as therapists, we have no control over it. Like if you are going through financial stress, we have no room for helping them financially.
No remedy there. No?
Yeah, there is no remedy. So they have to take care of that
Right.
on their own. So nowadays, we see marital issues, relationship issues, academic, especially children, they tend to worry a lot about their performance in the exams because they have to face a lot of competition these days in comparison to what used to happen many years ago. And then when the job market is not there, people who already have completed their education are also anxious because they don't know what to do.
Right.
They have so much of time to worry.
Now it brings us to the time where we take questions from the audience now.
Okay.
So, Doctor, one question is, what causes anxiety in children now?
Now, especially, see, these days we are seeing even young children like less than 12 or 13 years of age who show some anxiety. Now, one thing is, if the family dynamic is not good at home, like the parents are fighting all the time, there is some issues at home, and then the child feels threatened most of the time, then they can actually show symptoms of anxiety. They become very tremulous, they withdraw themselves from others, they may not, like they are very, we call it hypervigilant. Like even a small noise can frighten them, that sort of a thing can happen. Then smaller children sometimes have something called separation anxiety. Separation anxiety, that is like they feel like they will be separate from their
Abandoned.
parents. So that fear of abandonment.
Yes.
So they just keep on clinging to their caregiver, their parents or somebody. So they don't want to be separated from them. So because of that, sometimes they may not even go to school. So in such cases, we may have to deal with them separately and treat.
And the treatment would be basically therapy.
Mostly therapy.
Mostly
therapy, exposure and things like that.
Les, thank you for taking the question. The second one is, can recurring thoughts be a sign of anxiety disorder?
Recurring thoughts.
Which keeps the person awake and,
Now, recurring thoughts could be part of anything. It can be part of depression. It can be because of anxiety. Recurring thoughts alone does not say that they have anxiety or thing. Depends on the content that they ruminate over.
Right.
Now, there are people, there is also a condition called obsessive compulsive disorder where we just ruminate over some very
This is OCD is called,
yeah,
no?
OCD. Very small things like
La.
you feel as if you have contaminated the germs and you keep on worrying about getting that infection and you keep on repeatedly washing your hand. That's a different condition altogether.
right.
But somehow it falls under the spectrum of anxiety only. Actually, the feeling that you experience is again anxiety.
Of course,
Yeah.
because you think that everything's out to like
Right.
get you, no? Less. Doctor, can you talk about ways to prevent it? La?
Now, prevention of most mental disorders is again your lifestyle. It's
Lifestyle.
very important that we somehow regulate our mind. I think one is to be able to cope up with whatever stress we have. I think that's very important. Regular exercises, meditation, spiritual practices, taking time out. Sometimes if you are too stressed, for example, because it is related to your workplace, then maybe you should take a break sometimes. Go out for a picnic, go out for a necor or maybe
Right,
something like that. So many times
A sabbatical.
people don't do.
Less.
And then there are people who are high achievers. Sometimes they have lots of ambition, they want to do too many things, and then at the end they succumb to their own stress. So because they don't know how to take care of their own mental health. It is very important that.
Right.
Now, many times people try to cope up with anxiety by taking drugs, alcohol, coffee,
Yes, la.
tobacco,
Yes,
and
la.
things like that,
Yes, la.
which are again very bad for one's health. So they should
It's
not.
counter-effective, no?
Yes.
Like, they think that
No,
it's helping, but it's not.
If you drink a lot of coffee, that itself can cause symptoms of anxiety.
Right.
Similarly, nicotine can cause a lot of anxiety symptoms. Then our immunity goes down. So if our immunity goes down, we can get common cold very soon. We can get infection. We can have very bad impact on our body.
Are there any specific medications?
Now,
that
generally for the first time, for a short period of time, we give medicines called benzodiazepine, which
Yes.
can relax instantly and they are able to sleep and they feel calm. But then these are addicting medicines, so we discourage them to take it for a longer duration, not more than 1 or 2 months. But there are also medicines, the same antidepressant, the medicines that we use for depression in a very small dose can also be used to treat anxiety.
Less.
So we do have medicines.
Yes.
In fact, most of our patients, instead of using the CVT or any type of relaxation, they want medicines to fix their problem. So we do get people who keep on panicking and we have to put them on a long-term medications for sometimes.
Less. And they can they wean off the medication once their
Well,
cognitive
once
behavioral
they're
therapies in place?
once they're able to take care of their own mind and not panic so often, they can get rid of medications
Yes,
in the
la.
long
We are winding up our time, la.
Yes.
So, Doctor, I wanted you to reflect a little bit on how people's coping mechanism and the increase in anxiety disorders also associated with the fact that we underwent the pandemic, la,
Oh, yes,
COVID-19
yes.
pandemic.
Now, in the beginning of the pandemic, we actually had a very big number of people panicking. Now, it is normal in such a pandemic for people to react that way.
Yes.
But that actually overwhelmed the system. Like basically, we had so many people coming out with panic attacks, with difficulty in sleeping, with a lot of anxiety about getting the disease and all that thing. But over the period of time, I think it has come down quite significantly.
Oh, that's good to know.
But even now, like if somebody has to be confined on quarantine, like for example, people are in quarantine, still people
21
who come
days,
from outside or from the
14 days.
high risk area to low risk area, they have to be in quarantine for about 1 week to 2 weeks.
Yes.
So if somebody is, for example, claustrophobic anyway, their anxiety can increase when they are in a confined space. Number two, you are restricted in moving out, or you are not even able to socialize with anybody. So people who have the tendency to have anxiety disorders, it just flares up. The Ministry of Health came out with a group of counselors who could be approached any time of the day.
Yes.
And then they could get online counseling. That was going on for a while. Even now there are
Yes.
people who actually call these numbers and get help.
Yes.
And then we produce some materials that can be searched in YouTube. We posted them so that people are able to help themselves, that type of things. So relaxation videos and all, they are there. Actually, even I have put one progressive relaxations where we can listen to the voice that I have recorded myself, and then they can follow that instructions and then relax. There are so many resources already available. Now, why did I have to put mine? Simply because I thought, like many patients are my patients. They have come to me, they have had a talk with me, they know my voice.
Yes.
So I thought my voice, probably they would be
of course, doctor.
able to understand and all that thing.
The trust that we build with
yeah,
our doctors is everything.
So with that reason I put it up, but of course the takers are not so.
When you're going ahead with this therapy, especially counseling, you have to reveal a lot of information about yourself. So how is the confidentiality?
Well, we maintain very strict confidentiality actually when it comes to patients. But the problem is the patients themselves do not maintain confidentiality. This is our culture. We go and tell it to somebody. Oh, I'm having this. And then the other person will not keep the confidentiality. So for us, number one, we maintain the confidentiality. Number two, we forget who came and took help from us. Okay? Because we get so many people. In fact, I forget my own patients. I have to keep on asking, who are you, where are you from? So that way, I don't think there is any such problem.
But as far as the Jimmy Doji Wangchu
as far as the counselors are concerned, they are supposed to maintain confidentiality. They provide that. And when it comes to anxiety, actually we have a weekly clinic. So what we do is we gather people with similar symptoms in one room, and then we try to sort of ask them to share their own experiences and all, so they know among each other who is suffering from what.
Oh, so when does this counseling session occur?
We call it anxiety clinic.
Anxiety clinic.
It happens every Saturday.
And normal timings, 9 to 3.
Yeah.
And you've given us so much information on anxiety disorder that I feel like I can also go and talk about it.
Okay.
So, and I hope our viewers have the same feeling, because knowledge is everything. And early diagnosis and also, like intervention, early intervention. If you know you have any of these symptoms, Dr. Nirola is always there.
We must seek help.
Seek help.
Don't fight alone. A lonely battle is difficult to be.
And yes, there are medical professionals such as Dr. Nirola here to help us, if you have any anxiety, panic disorder.
So we have a team. Please feel free to come seek help so that we can make your life more comfortable.
Oh, that's wonderful. So on that note, Doctor, thank you very much for being on Dumso BBS. We've had a very fruitful talk on mental disorder issues. Thank you to our viewers also for tuning in and watching Dr. Nirola talk about anxiety disorders. It's very important to seek help because there's a whole team there ready to help you. So with that, we wind up this episode of Dumso BBS. Thank you very much for watching, and take care of your health and your mental health and well-being as well.
My friends and foe, I'm growing strong and I'm feeling just fine, 'cause two of my friends outside I go. Keep my hands, keep my teeth, all of my body, keep them clean. I am so healthy and smart I've been, because I practice good hygiene, yeah. Our body will be strong if we know what's best for us. Let's eat right, let's exercise and take care of our daily diet.
When the temperature drops and cold weather sets in, keeping yourself warm in winters becomes a task. Sometimes even the multiple layers of sweaters or sitting in front of a room heater throughout the day won't help. When cold weather strikes a chilling blow, it makes sense to consume healthy, warming, concentrated foods, and nature has planned it in the same way. As the temperature decreases, your metabolism slows down to conserve energy and keep your body warmth intact. Some foods can help in boosting your metabolism and keeping you active through the day. Most foods available in the winter are meant to keep our body warm and help control cold and cough. The food you eat affects your body. This winter, let's fuel our bodies with food that can help raise our body temperature, giving us the right nutrients and providing a shield against the harsh winters and make ourselves feel warm from within. But before that, let's understand, what are winter foods? Winter foods are foods which are available in the winter months and help keep the body warm and provide nutrition during the cold season. They boost our immunity and reduce the chances of catching common diseases such as colds and cases of flu. Foods high in vitamins and minerals are the best foods to eat in the winter. For example, swap out regular potatoes for sweet potatoes as they are a rich source of vitamin A, potassium, and fiber. Turnips and their greens are also a great source of nutrients such as vitamin K and also vitamin A. Other sources of nutrients include dried dates, almonds, and walnuts. Radish, high in vitamin A, K, B6, C, and E, along with antioxidants, zinc, and potassium. Mustard greens, loaded with antioxidants, iron, and fiber. Winter squash, a great source of vitamin C. Winter fruits, oranges, high in vitamin C, which helps curb the common colds. The best known immunity supporting nutrient, however, has to be vitamin C. This antioxidant, water-based vitamin helps support your immune system to help keep you healthy, especially during the cold winter months. It also plays a role in your body's response to stress, and since stress can affect immunity, it's important to keep your vitamin C levels topped up. Most fruits and vegetables contain vitamin C, but some foods are naturally rich in vitamin C, such as oranges, tomatoes, blueberries, kiwis. Vitamin C protects you against cold, and one of the myths people carry is to avoid having oranges or other citrus fruits during winters. Strawberries, a great source of vitamin B9 and vitamin C. Apples, loaded with antioxidants and dietary fiber. Bananas. Bananas contain vitamin B and magnesium, which help your thyroid and adrenal glands function properly. These glands help to regulate body temperature, and bananas can also boost our mood and preserve our memory, among other health benefits. So a banana a day keeps the shivers at bay. An immunity-supporting diet focuses on foods that are rich in nutrients such as root vegetables. Root vegetables like radishes, beetroot, carrots, turnips, and sweet potatoes. Potatoes are essential in winter because of a process called thermogenesis. In general, foods that take longer to digest can help raise your body temperature and make you feel warmer. The medical term for this process is thermogenesis, which is the process of your body producing heat caused by food metabolizing. Look for food that's high in healthy fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. Many of these foods are more complex and take longer to digest. Because it's so cold, you may be feeling a lot hungrier, but don't eat more. Eat smart. It's tempting to snack on biscuits, chocolate bars, and other cozy little snacks throughout the day. But simple carbohydrates digest really quickly, so they don't keep you warm that long. Complex carbohydrates are also called starches. Starches include grain products such as bread, crackers, pasta, and rice. Other complex carbohydrates include whole grains, potatoes, and lentils. As with simple sugars, some complex carbohydrate foods are better choices than others. Eggs. Eggs are often described as a powerhouse of energy. Not only do they keep your body warm, they are rich in proteins and vitamins, and they can help our body fight infection in winters. Eating eggs fulfill protein, nutrient requirements, and also constitute a healthy diet in winters. Iron-rich foods. If you always have cold hands and feet, you may have been an iron deficiency or anemia. Iron is really important in carrying oxygen to all parts of your body. Red meat contains a lot of iron, as do spinach, black beans, which are also a great protein source because they don't contain saturated fat, poultry, lentils, and iron-fortified cereals. A daily spoonful of honey in some hot water is just the ticket to keeping our immune system strong. Honey has a lot of amazing properties, including helping us keep colds and coughs at bay. Honey is warm in nature, and regularly eating or drinking honey will help keep our body warm this winter. Is known to have antioxidant and warming properties. It can be had as such or mixed with grated ginger juice for a quick relief from cough and throat ailments. Dry fruits and nuts. Nuts are one of the best foods that keep you warm and energetic during winters. Dried fruits and nuts like almonds, cashews, and raisins generate heat in the body, and they can also help if you have an iron deficiency. Just don't eat too many. All things in moderation. Drink water. A simple way to help your body stay warm this winter is to drink water. Water keeps your body functioning at its best and helps regulate your internal temperature. Dehydration causes your core temperature to drop, which may lead to hypothermia. People are less likely to drink water when it's cold outside because they don't feel as thirsty. You may want to carry a water bottle with you to serve as a reminder. Jaggery. Jaggery is a superfood that is packed with calcium, magnesium, iron, potassium, phosphorus, zinc, copper, thiamine, riboflavin, and niacin. Jaggery is also known to boost hemoglobin. Hot soups. A bowl of hot soup is delicious for your taste buds as well as soothing for your body. You can prepare a tasty bowl of hot soup on a chilly winter evening by taking a vegetable of your choice. It will provide you with quick relaxation and warmth on a cold day. Ginger tea. Hot ginger tea can make you feel warm inside on a cold day. Ginger is known to be good for digestive health and can stimulate thermogenesis. It's also a diaphoretic, which means it will help your body warm from the inside out. Keeping you warm is only one of the many health benefits of drinking ginger tea. Spices. Like ginger, you can't be missing out on these flavorsome 5: cumin, cinnamon, sesame seeds, pepper, and turmeric. Cumin generates a less intense heat and thus keeps you warm for longer. Meanwhile, turmeric gives heat to food and can even be added to milk or tea. Cinnamon also raises our body temperature by increasing your metabolism. White or black pepper wards off the dreaded winter flu, and sesame are great for staying healthy in the winter. Remember that exercising with proper nutrition and, of course, layers of clothing offers the opportunity to chase away the chills. Eating healthy winter foods help keep you disease-free and warm. Many vegetables are still ready for harvest just before winter and keep for ages if they are stored with proper care. It being winter doesn't mean your healthful habits need to hibernate. It is true that eating massive amounts of carrots can sometimes cause a person's skin to turn yellowish orange. Eggplant is known as crazy apple in Italy due to widespread belief that diet rich in eggplants leads to madness. A popular science experiment in schools involves attaching electrodes to a lemon and using it as a battery to power a light. The electricity generated in this way can also power a small motor. Potatoes were the first food to be grown in space. In 1996, potato plants were taken into space with the Space Shuttle Columbia. Hold a slice of bread in your mouth to avoid crying while cutting onions. This colorful fruit was once called a starberry because it has a star-shaped crown on top. Blueberry, strawberry, banana, grapes. Blueberries contain more antioxidants than almost any other fruit or vegetable. The antioxidants that give this fruit its beautifully rich blue hue may boost brain power, fight off disease, and slow down the aging process. This bite-sized fruit comes in more than 50 varieties and a rainbow of colors including red, white, purple, green, blue, black, and golden. Gooseberry, grapes, raspberry, dates. Even though the majority of their calories come from sugar, grapes' nutritional pros far outweigh their cons. Studies show that the antioxidant found in the skin of red grapes limits cancer cell growth. Other polyphenol antioxidants can reduce inflammation linked to several health conditions such as type 2 diabetes. Which of the following statements is true about nectarines? They are a cross between peaches and apples. They are a cross between plums and peaches. They are a kind of peach. None of the above. Nectarines are related to peaches but don't have the same fuzzy skin. Nectarines are a round, yellow-red stone fruit that are about the size of an apple. They have a smooth, firm skin on the outside and a white-yellow flesh inside, both of which are edible. This fruit is often grown in many Asian countries and is considered one of the stinkiest fruits in the world. What is it? Persimmon, jackfruit, rambutan, durian. Durian is a unique tropical fruit. It's popular in Southeast Asia, where it's nicknamed the king of fruits. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, and cabbage belong to which type of vegetables? Cruciferous vegetables, leafy green vegetables, root vegetables. The name cruciferous is an informal classification for members of the mustard family and comes from the Latin crucifere, meaning cross-bearing, because the 4 petals resembles a cross.
If you wanna grow strong and you wanna be tough, you gotta like the crunchy greens. You gotta work out, so here's what I do every day to help me grow. Multiple kinds for my body and mind. Beans I eat, crunchy greens. What about broccoli? Yeah, I'ma eat them too, 'cause they all taste good. I like a lot of fruits, don't you? I'm feeling great from my head to toe. Let's get her from the gym, my friends and foe. I'm growing strong and I'm feeling just fine, 'cause two of my friends outside I go. Keep my hands, keep my teeth, love my body, keep them clean. I am so healthy and smart I've been, because I practice good
Jesus.
속차기 리 유미수 가라데다 출레된데 되고면 추디 개체슈 지출아 임베서 주니라.
Very long time ago, before the beginning of history, the people started to settle along the river banks. The land by the river was green and beautiful, but it was blessed with sunshine and the life-giving water. The people along the valley learned how to live from the land. They have also learned how to raise crops and keep the animals. Mostly the communities who have settled in the region were different tribes. Over the years, these tribes united with one another until the great nation was formed. Today, this particular valley appears to have discovered everything. Even the flows of the foreigners are in huge numbers, exploring the unique cultures and taking pictures of this wonderful place that they can't commit to memory. So the Wangchu River offers a vision of a land suspended between past and present, a land where many mysteries remained intact. The unbroken history of human civilization in the western parts of Bhutan is a result of this silent river. Therefore, the legendary course of River Wangchu will lead us on a journey through times. The land within this river valley is called Wangchu, closely linked with the flow of River Wangchu. A vast emerald stretch of Wangchu River has always held a charm, and the primitive explorers are accustomed to the river that flows from the north. River extends miles away until it enters the Bay of Bengal. Alongside the Wangchu River, the nomadic hunters were the first human to appear, and they occupied the fertile land. Later, at the advent of Buddhism in the country, the human settlements along the Wangchu River have gradually flourished and prospered. This settlement then slowly spread out into 8 different regions, commonly known as Wangchu. This is Yalela mountain range. It is from this mountain range, situated towards the northern part of Thimphu Valley, where River Wangchu is being born. River Wangchu is born deep within the land of Bhutan, and the river finally drains down into India as the river Redak. At the source, River Wangchu is formed by several lakes and glacial ice. This lake, so-called Gedutso, is one of the main sources of River Wangchu.
The Tinalapa Mapa Uniki Toku, so Jinga de Chiu, the Inuluji Chusu Chusu Chilegemi, the two Yarlagi Tawala, the Karagi Pato to Chumda Zitsublani, Lamgitawa, you mean so bomb the Gedutso Slavilla. The Didima Bangaragi and the Tadi Bodolo, so Peg Jonilo, then Churu Tenilo, Sevigin, Hadi Mapalmi session.
Just above this lake, there are also some other small lakes which adds potential and energy for a river to flow further. As the Wangchu began to flow from its magnificent lake, the colorful alpine flowers delicately swing off her journey. Although life at this altitude is harsh, it is the home for nomads. The nomadic yak herders reside here in isolation, raising yaks for their livelihoods.
The Tampu Gilera, Pamiki Cablera, the Lanorgo, the Demichimbe, Tamjiki, Nipchiki, Nalapara, Besachero, Acharaki, Pamagi, Temi, Bujiki, the Sandro Desolation by Yargeta, the Shasup Doch watching the Demi subsidy no Sametamela, the Gacharaki never do subsidy no Stamela.
On the other hand, overgrazing on the mountain grasslands and the global climate change is an issue. Glaciers are in fast pace of recession, and several small lakes have already lost its existence.
Tampuja Gulapagi Richard, the Supura, the Koda, and the Sukibi Kozumbel, the Chachab Lashadula, Tanisula Koma Palemila, the Gun Kojamni, Hemale Yumi, the Shuju Begale, the Ko Mibigale, the Amagi de Maba, Sosa Song Mabe member Beshinale, I regulamagi, the Chudusuma, Babjibabjamina, Lukiti de Dume, the Yalama Chulesha, Dabami Mibigale, the Tiema Chusu Jude Sessionel.
Even the green meadows on the slopes of the mountains are said to have parched down. As a result, most of the nomads at present feel that they would give up their way of life. It is in the month of December. The temperature at this height reaches below the freezing point. In cold wintry months, animals like trekking barrel scrap for survival, as they really mean the difference between life and death. This blue sheep, or the baral, usually graze on the mountain slopes. This animal is being referred as a caprid animal, commonly found in the Himalayas, and the Bhutanese called it as nau. As the evening winds sweep behind the mountain range, the male baral turn out to be crazy, and they try to lean on the female baral. This is a time for the baral to rut. Rutting of the baral starts by the end of November and continues until mid-January. For sure, this animal is a special prey for snow leopards. A moment when Wangchu is about to enter the green belt, a stream that flows from a peak called Majapu joins her journey. Here, the golden Himalayan eagle soars high, marking the valley in search for prey. Beneath the shadow of this ghostly eagle, the group of snow partridges are seen busy quenching their thirst in an alarming mood. As soon as they notice the danger, these snow partridges suddenly hide under the alpine bushes. It's a different story from beyond these conifers and the alpine forests. Here, some of the dominant plants are fir, birches and the spruce trees mixed with shrubs. Most of the Himalayan musk deer lives here at this altitude for a good reason. This tiny animal emerges at dawn and dusk to feed on the lichens hang around the forest. After plunging through the thick conifer forest, we finally enter the Barshung village.
Notice Tandaibuda.
Barshung is a village occupied mostly by the nomads. People in this village live with their herds of yaks and they migrate from one place to another with their yaks. Just below the village stands an old fortress called Barshung Dzong. Dzong, as we see today, is just a ruin. According to the community over here, Barshung Dzong was said to have built far back the history mainly to guard over the enemies coming to attack the region during the time of the Tibetan invasion. Hours later, we get back to the bank of river Wangchu. The river flows continuously, but for us is a difficult journey. The evening sun has already set off and we are in the mysterious darkness, healing beside fire to keep ourselves warm during this cold winter night. The next morning, we prepare our journey and start stirring until our destination comes to an end. Along the journey through thick coniferous forest, we come across few bamboo plants. However, the clumps of bamboo plants that we see are already threatened. The forest cover in Bhutan is very rich because of its strong conservation policy. So the commuters didn't face hard against the strengthening sun rays as they travel uphill through a thick forest. Life for these nomads seemed to be tiresome, but when they hear the calls of chirping birds and the languors enjoying the freedom of nature, these commuters' spirits are lifted with a newfound energy. The langurs are revered as compassionate monkey in the Himalayan kingdom. These monkeys usually survive here on wild fruits and new leaves. Apart from the fact that the people face a difficult living in the wild forests, the jungle remains as a wildlife oasis for the natural treasures. As we descend down to Dodena, the river finally joins with another stream that flows from the mountain range of Yaksa. The stream which flows from Yaksa mountain is said to have risked to human settlement along the valley below.
We didn't have any major problem in Thimpuchu or in Wangchu. But this year, during 2 days of incessant rains, the level reached up to 2.6 meters in Dodena, which is our threshold level which we have kept. It didn't cross the level, it just reached up to that, and we were observing it, and there was nothing more than that, but it reached up to the threshold mark. But even if it reaches the threshold, we have sufficient tolerance to just issue warnings or sufficient tolerance to reach the danger level.
Dodena is a place where most of the Bhutanese believed as a sacred place in the kingdom. Overhead this river lies Tango and Chari Monastery. The Tango and Chari monasteries are the most important Buddhist centers in the western Bhutan. A distant away from Dodena, through a gap between the hills and valley, the river transformed into a wide waterway through the backing plains of Thimphu Valley. Thimphu is the capital city of Bhutan. The town in the capital city of Bhutan accommodates the highest numbers of population in the country. The people in this urban setting wakes up early morning, take showers, brush their teeth, grab a cup of coffee and head out for the day. This means the river Wangchu and its tributaries reveals how the cultures and lives in this town has shaped over time. In some parts of the Thimphu town, much of fresh water is being used outdoors for watering lawns, flower beds, vegetable gardens, and washing cars. With the increasing demand of water usages, the large amounts of toxic substances are also emitted into the river. The river that flows below the urban hubs is being partly poisoned. Like all rivers, the Wangchu is under increasing pressure. Intensive agriculture, sewage, urbanization, invasive species, litters, and sometimes just neglect and ignorance have all taken their toll.
다 줄남 풀로 춤맵 조니멜로 세기 디 냥카디디 다동아 치미세기디 깨니기 됨 아니 미스 슈네라 야라 칼라파기 강한드 송아 차라 야 드미기디 때 맵까지 담아라
There is an urgent need to work together to safeguard the future of the Eden. How people use water from the river is the matter of time and change in the natural surroundings. On other sides of the river, greenery begins to brew. Rhododendrons are one of the few natural flowering plants that appear immune to these onslaughts. With this colorful blossom, bees are the busy insects. By the end of spring season, the wind carries moistures towards the mountain hills. The clouds begin to fill the summer sky and the monsoon shower arrives. This is the time where the Wangchu River gets a welcome top-up with devastating intensity. While summer rainfall brings grey days for most of the office-goers, it rejuvenates the life of farmers and the valley that stands alongside. Fields are being ploughed, inundated and planted with paddy. Summer sown crops like paddy is quickly ripened in the strong sun. It is in the month of September that the farmers harvest their benefits. Further down, the river crisscrosses through the settlements of Wang Valley. The river finally joins the Pachu here at Chunzom. These two rivers, the Pachu and Wangchu, jointly form a single waterway with full potential to flow further down the valley, which generates our two major hydro powers in Bhutan.
It utilizes a fall of 860 meters in river Wangchu from downstream of existing Chukha power station up to Tala, which is almost about 24 kilometers along the river.
In making the journey all along the Wangchu River, I have no important rivers to enumerate, no fertile regions to point out than Wangchu. For myself, the Wangchu River really excites me, and I see the river as a way to link many communities through a natural system. Therefore, the people of Wang Valley should not forget doing something for this river.